How's it going, Goodman Games universe? And welcome to another exciting episode of Raw Rules as Written. Post Gen Con episode because we missed you 2 weeks ago at Gen Con. I'm one of your hosts this evening. My name is Matt, also known as Grape Ape, and joined by
Stefan Surratt, also known as D and Bad Wrong Fun.
and Stefan, favorite guest of the show, back on once again. Would you do the honor, Stefan?
It's Brennan the Killer Bee. He is here. He's your X-Crawl author extraordinaire, and he's here to answer questions. We've covered all the classes at this point, but now we're redoing the last three of them. Not redoing, but we've given our answers. Now Brennan will tell us where we found little things that he's like, oh no, the typo, stomp it, or tell us that we were just plain wrong.
Now,
Thank
Brennan,
you
if
very
this
much.
is the first time people are seeing you, tell them a little bit about who you are.
Sure. So my name is Brendan LaSalle, aka Detail Boss, and a bunch of other nicknames and monikers and whatnots. I'm the outreach manager for Goodman Games, and I'm a game designer. Been doing this for a long time. I am best known as the creator of X-Crawl, which is, of course, the modern fantasy dystopia game of streaming dungeon mayhem, live on pay-per-view dungeons, populated by all kinds of crazy stuff, run for audiences at home to watch and enjoy while adventurers get killed and chased around. So
I can't believe Hollywood's ripping it off. There's some newfangled movie called Running Man that's going to come out. They're
I
already doing
know,
it,
right?
Brennan.
You know what?
Hey,
I'm very proud of my influences. I hope X-Crawl wears its influences very proudly, and that's definitely one of them.
are you getting any kickback from that movie? I mean, it's like,
No, although Stephen King said he would kick me in the ass though if he ever saw me. So that's
Oh.
I don't know if that counts as
all right. Well, a couple announcements at the beginning of the show. Our next Road Crew rally, Brendan, tell us when that is.
It's August 22nd. Is it 8 p.m. Eastern time?
I think it's 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Yes. So
It's
come on out
it's
and hang out for the Road Crew rally. We're gonna have a couple of really cool announcements. We're right now paring down our short list of special guests who might come and spend the evening with us. It's gonna be fantastic. We're gonna talk all things Road Crew. We're gonna talk convention. We're gonna talk Gone Farmers, organized play, 5e, relationship advice. Did y'all know I'm really good at that kind of stuff? I'm ready to
Wait,
help.
isn't
I'm
that
ready
like
to
a
answer.
Saturday at the sidebar topic? I don't want to step on Elena's territory.
It really is. It really is. But
Okay.
I'm saying, so it's the rally. Anything can happen at the rally. So come on,
Well,
hang out with us, and I can't wait.
I'll also add, this is more your thing again, Brennan, because but X-Crawl Insider issue 1 has come out. I think all of our viewers have bought it because they're all very cool people. If they want to get in issue 2, it's very possible. Very, very possible. If you
Absolutely.
email xccinsider@goodman-games.com, they need to give a little pitch of a submission, and there's some DJ profiles, fabulous prizes, monster spells, other content.
Yes, I've already received a couple of really cool entries, and looking forward to seeing all your incredibly amazing ideas for X-Crawl. So by all means, send them into that very same email address, and let's make you famous.
Yeah.
All right.
And Creek is asking in the chat, any news on it? Yes, the news is still accepting submissions. The writing is not in, the layout's not done, the art's not done. That's the news.
That's the news. Yeah.
All right, last little plug before we get into these questions. You're watching on YouTube. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button down below.
Like and
Brendan,
subscribe, and definitely hit the bell button, and we'll send you so we can keep sending you all kinds of Goodman Games coolness forever and ever. And we are here at your service, providing all kinds of greatness to you because we love you. Thank you.
if you want to see more shows, you got to hit it and tell your friends to hit it because Joe needs to know
Yeah,
that you want more content.
absolutely.
All right,
Uh,
Brendan. First, we're going to get into it. What was your idea for adding gnomes to X-Crawl to DCC?
Well, they were part of gnomes have been a part of X-Crawl since the very beginning. They were a part of the 5e version and, of course, the Pathfinder version. So I was really trying to make sure there was, a real, we weren't leaving things out that people who had been fans since the beginning had been, been a part of. Famously, some of my real good buddies in Surgical Strike, my friend Marcy, she has been running her gnome character since the beginning, and she's one of the absolute iconic characters of X-Crawl. So I could not, give her a place to land. Also, Joe didn't like gnomes, and I thought it was funny if I added them in, so I included those. And he was like, "Yeah, but I want you to go back to some of the early, go back to some of the Urtext for fantasy gnomes, same ones that they did for Dungeons and Dragons." So I did. I went back and read some of those early ones, and turns out they were pretty much just like dwarves, but a little less grumpy, and they lived in tree stumps and hills and whatnot, for the most part. But I'll tell you what, I really enjoy them as a character. I love playing them as a class. They're a lot of fun, and I recommend them to they feel very X-Crawly to me. You know what I'm saying? Like they're showmen. Show folk.
Okay, and so for the draw aggro check, that's kind of the first mechanic we looked at. Can they draw aggro to more than one opponent at a time? Can they draw aggro to a group? What if it's like a swarm, or is it only
one
one?
individual
And
swarm?
how does that mechanic work?
Okay, so the mechanic works. The gnome has to make their draw aggro check, which is 20 plus their level plus their personality modifier. And then the target has to make a willpower save versus their check. If the target fails that saving throw, then they either have to spend the next round going after the gnome and like changing their tactics and switching targets, even if that is illogical or a bad idea. Or if they don't want to do that, they have to accept a -1d penalty on all of their action dice checks.
And Stefan, we talked a little bit about the penalty. What's the intent? We talked a little bit about it. If they wanted to break aggro, if they wanted to break off, that's a withdrawal attack right there. Is it gonna be you piss me off so much I'm gonna come after you and take this attack, or where's the line there?
It's exactly that. They just the gnome is the master of getting under your skin. So they just find some thing that just makes monsters / mercenaries just crazy. And they just you either have to stop what you're doing and go after the gnome, or you have to or you're so distracted by them that it gives you a penalty.
All right, Stefan, what did you think? I mean,
Sounds-
I remember we talked about it a little bit more, and there was some kind of
you are pushing the like realm of possibilities. I remember mostly focusing on like, all right, you put a gnome on a T-Rex, he draws aggro, but they can't attack him because he's taking cover because he's on top of a T-Rex. And they must take the penalty. I remember making up something silly like that.
some kind of situation like that. Man.
But I mean, we also talked about like backs getting bonuses while hidden because they get hide in shadows, pickpocket, sneak silently, and they get bonuses. But Matt, you for some reason bring up, well, if they're hidden, should they get a backstab bonus? And that
Just threw
automatic.
that out there to see if they might get any kind of little plus or anything.
I appreciate that. I mean, they will get the traditional bonus for attacking an opponent who can't see them, which is either +2 or +4. I think it's +2. I think it's +2. But yeah, they wouldn't. Their ability to sneak around and creep around does not translate to the study of anatomy that backstab types have, where they go for the vulnerables, know how to do it. For the most part, in our campaign, when our gnome sneaks up on someone, it's to pick their pocket and steal cool stuff from them. So that's how it mostly goes. So that's the real advantage. They can creep up and be like, and there goes your potion or dagger or whatever it happens to be. So.
I mean, this is X-Crawl. It could be like he goes there. They've hired a bunch of orcs for this room. The gnome goes over and he steals some guy's credit card.
See ya, pal. And then what's happening after the crawl? They're all going to the Sizzler. And that orc is paying. And what's he going to do? Sue? He's not even a citizen. It's terrible. It's just awful.
Well, so let's talk about the gnome mojo real quick. Gnomes have the potential to gain quite a bit of mojo. So on any natural 20, they roll a 1d3, and so they could potentially get 3 mojo right there from that one, right?
Yes. It's a natural 20 on attack rolls or spell checks. Which, here's straight up. Now that I've seen this in play since the book's been out for a year, I should have just said it should have been the same thing that mojo affects. It should have been attack rolls, spell checks, and skill checks. And if I have room, I'm going to change that and fix that in the final. But rules as written, and that's what we're here for. Rules as written, it is attack rolls and spell checks. Is the if they roll a nat 20 on attack roll spell check, they'll get the their team mascot die.
All right, so if they roll a natural 20 on ability check or skill check, then they just get the +1.
Yes, but here's the harsh reality. I forget every time and give them the die 3. I mean, I didn't in the tournament. I was really careful to run the tournament. I had it written on a piece of paper, like by me, but where I was very strict on it. But like my regular game, I forget 19 times out of 20, unfortunately. So,
well, when you've rewritten a game system 4 times, it's a little forgivable.
It really went through a lot of changes in the way it was written, and there was luck involved for a minute there. That got out, but if I had to do over again, and if I can fit it into the edit, I am going to make it where it will be any roll that mojo can affect. If they get a nat 20 on that, they'll get the bonus.
And when that if that happens, that'll first be in the soft cover, probably.
Yes, that would be in the soft cover. Which I've seen the art for. Oh, y'all! It's crazy.
So a new art cover for the soft cover?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Baby.
We have a question in the chat, Creek, going, hey, when might that soft cover come out? Is that probably like a 2026 thing?
Sure, why not? I literally don't know. It's I'll tell you what though, the everybody should keep asking for it. You know what I mean? If there's the more interest, the more it'll be a priority. But yeah, it'll be. I don't have dates for that. I know that there's art for it now. I'm working on a cleanup edit. And hey, let me real quick, y'all two, seriously, huge shout out to this show because you have brought up y'all have caught a couple of doozies. And really, it's the kind of thing that it takes. I groan about it, but like y'all take the monkey wrench and just get in there, and you have found me a couple of things. So I'm very grateful for all of the time and effort and the regard that you have for the text. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Well, we're not done with the gnome yet. So that team mascot die increases as they get higher level. So the potential to earn more mojo is there. But whenever somebody on the table rolls a 1, it loses all the mojo. The gnome automatically gains a point, right?
Yes.
Do they gain the team mascot die?
No, just 1.
Oh,
I'm telling you. Told you.
It's under the team mascot section.
Yeah, let me look it
up. Listen, I remember talking about like the order of operations and how the sentence is structured, and being like, no, Matt, it's just come on.
No, they just get the 1 point. It's a tiny little consolation prize. It's like them saying, "Come on, guys, we got this," and being able to still zip, zap, zop the next guy.
Okay. All right, Stefan. What's our next question on the gnome?
I mean, we said about the individual mojo earning condition. That's not a real rulesy one. It's pretty clear there. Draw aggro, anyone that changes target to the gnome. But what about spells? Can they have just gnome spells, but could they learn a blaster spell?
Not under normal circumstance, but of course this is X-Crawl, and there's plenty of abnormal circumstances. So I would say if they want to learn a spell that is outside of their canon, sure, we're going on a quest. So it's possible, but again, not under regular circumstance. And if they do get a spell from something that's not allowed in X-Crawl, at that point, let's say they want to learn a wizard spell or something like that. if they go through the quest and they do it, that's great. But they still might not be able to use it in X-Crawl, and that will probably translate to a meeting with the Adventurers Guild and bribes. So much bribes. Bribes, city, bribes, city, bribes, city, bribes.
Now, Brendan, you already had a plethora of new mercurial magic that you came up with. Blaster mercurial magic, but you went ahead and did all the gnome mercurial magic as well.
Yes.
I mean, that's a crazy amount of material.
It's it is, and it was so much fun. I was really glad to work on it, and I feel like the gnome mercurial effects really kind of highlight the kind of magic that they do, which is this is the magic of the Fae, it's the magic of the Twilight Realms. You know what I mean? It's not the formula magic that they learn in for blasters or for wizards, excuse me, or the kind of like magic weaving out of the air that blasters do. This is really the language of the magic of their ancestors, who were all originally from the Twilight Realms.
Now, one crossover, Stefan, is that you could take all this mercurial magic, and we have a spell in DCC called Arcane Infinity that you and I have always felt has been kind of lacking because it talks about, like necromancy, illusion. It talks about specific kind of classes of magic, but DCC doesn't really have anything that zeroes in on those specific classes or what those spells might be. You could take this stuff from X-Crawl and just move it right over there.
Oh yeah. Very, very portable. And if you're on like your 5th DCC campaign and you've seen that wizard, mercurial 1,000 times,
the pentagram, the eye,
just take this X-Crawl stuff. Like,
absolutely,
change that flavor just a smidgen, or
mod it out.
Heaven forbid, play X-Crawl.
Say, did you all know that X-Crawl has a spell which is not functionally the same, but thematically the same as the Arcane Affinity spell?
I did not.
Which one?
Oh yeah, I can't believe y'all haven't. This is the one that I'm waiting for you guys to tear apart. It's X-Crawl. It's the X-Crawl special. It's a second level spell, and it really goes back to there was a feat. That was the X-Crawl special feat that came in one of the books. I do not recall what it was.
I've got to pull it up. This is like a 3-page long spell. Yeah, you packed some stuff into this.
Yeah, it's got a whole new level of natural one screw up, the cosmic consequence, as I recall. But yeah, so essentially, you can the spell changes your true name a little bit, which will allow you to take a penalty on some spells, but get a modifier on other spells, depending on how well you do. So,
very cool. All right, Brendan, last question about the gnomes. So their individual mojo earning potential condition is that when an opponent changes the target to the gnome, when they successfully draw aggro, they get opponent mojo. What if they successfully draw aggro, but that target chooses to take the penalty and not come after him? Do they still get the mojo?
Changes their target. No, that's interesting. Rules as written, they wouldn't get the point of mojo for that. But once again, the truth is, as soon as that roll is successful, I give you the point, which is that needs cleaned up there, I think, too. But yeah, the rules as written, they only would get that point of mojo if the creature changes targets. If they just decide to take the penalty, then they wouldn't. Which I feel like, honestly, is a very good trade-off if you think about it. Like, all right, you did your job. The guy gets a big penalty, so he's probably going to not do great next round, and no one's coming over to beat your face in. You know what I'm saying? So you don't get the mojo point, but also no face beating. So.
A fair trade.
Hey, Robert popped in. He's got to head off, but hey, Robert, thanks for coming.
Robert,
so, Stefan, I think that takes us on to the half elf, right?
Yes.
Half elves.
What's our question for the half elf?
Question number 1: we talked a little about the demographic of about the representation. Half elf, 2% chance of actually getting rolled on the occupation list as a half elf. Mm-hmm. I suggested that is the X-Crawl population, but the actual demographic, what is in the American Empire, is probably different, at least by a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Half elves are definitely, as far as a percentage of their, like, as a percentage of their species, are very much overrepresented um,
The
in uh,
games.
in the games. You know what I mean? It calls to them. You know what I'm saying? It's a great place for them, and they do very very well there. But yeah, the population of the North American Empire is nothing like 2% half elf. It's probably like 0.00000 question mark percent half elf. I mean, there's probably like maybe it's hundreds. But probably it's like what I mean. Yeah, it's not that frequent, and there's a lot of there's a
So when you were
lot. There's a lot.
making like the percentages, and you had like 1 out of 100 chance to be this, 2 out of 100 chance to be this, was there? I mean, did you consider how thick you wanted it to be? What the majority of the
Yeah,
classes you wanted?
absolutely. The okay. So the truth is that all of the special racial classes, they're all very very potent. You know what I'm saying? Dwarves, halfling, rogues. They all are very very good at what they do. Half elves are very powerful. Half orcs are very powerful. And one of the things that balances them out is that if you're playing rules as written, starting from a character funnel, they're also going to be very rare. You know what I mean? I liken it to first edition Dungeons and Dragons and the Paladin class. You know what I'm saying? Like, Paladins were way overpowered, but you had to have a 17 charisma to qualify, so it didn't come up that very much in lower levels. So it's like that where the fact that they are so rare is one of the things that balances them out as a character class.
Okay. All right. Next question then. Half elves. They get blaster spells. Can they don't have a blaster die though. Can they still cast Spellweaver Blast and just, it's not as good because they don't have a blaster die?
That's exactly right. So
Okay.
somewhere in the text, someplace, it says that for anything that would use the blaster die, that you'd use the blaster die for, you should instead substitute the half elf's caster level, their CL as. It's in there someplace, but it's not anywhere that's easy to find. And that is something that I was watching while you guys did that live last week, and like I bit my coffee cup. I was like, "Ah, I can't believe it. Like that shouldn't be that hard to find in there. So apologies, and that is and once again grateful for y'all finding that. That is one of the many things that needs to get changed up in the new edition. So yeah, for any spell that factors the blaster die, the half elf uses their CL in place of the blaster die result. So if
Okay.
they were second level, they'd get a +2 on that rather than a whatever the result. They would use their damage would be 2 plus whatever whatever they roll up because of the spell result.
Okay. Makes sense. That, I mean, still not as good as if you're a blaster, but much better.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, at least we
it
got
depends.
access.
No, let's say you're third level. Well, the blaster now he's die 3, die 4, die 5. Okay, so he's looking at a maximum of 5. But uh, that half elf, he's
Good to get
rocking a
on.
steady 3. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm?
3. He's rocking 3 points steady on that, which is fantastic. You know what I'm saying? So that's so it's a bit of a trade off. Think of him; he's a little bit more steady than the chaotic blaster, who's just like weaving spells and wah, you know.
Well, and you get a success on a 9, so I mean, even if you don't get the blaster die, still a success on a 9.
Yeah, and we talked about it on the show before. That is really a throwback to the original conception of Spellweaver Blast, which was that the old blaster could take whatever wizard spells they went, but they could burn one of them to cast Spellweaver Blast. And they could do that at any level. So they always had that to fall back on. So it let them be kind of a
Okay.
toolkit in the old days. They could have, your fifth level, you had all these spells, you didn't have to take any attack spells, but when it was time to cast one, you're like, all right, I need to cast me a Spellweaver Blast right now. I guess I'll spend my Detect Magic or whatever it happens to be. You know what I'm saying?
All right. So, Brendan, this is a good one because there's some genuine confusion here on my part. Like, why is it that you have to pick the spell that you want to choose before you decide and then make your luck check to see if you get it?
Not the spell, you got to pick the spell level.
So, not the spell exactly,
No, just
Just
what level spell
it's
this
going
could
to be.
be. Yeah. This way,
Why?
you're not because because I want to avoid this at the table. All right, can I pull a book up here real quick? Hold on one second.
Yeah, of course, of course.
I'll give you the
So
concrete example of why it shouldn't
Stefan
go.
just leveled his half elf up,
Your
and
third
you're
level
like,
now.
hey, all right, you got to make a
Yes.
luck check to see if you can choose your spell.
Okay. And Stefan rolls an 8. Okay? Hey, do you have a die, Stefan? Go ahead and roll. But just don't get anything over a 10, or we'll have to go lower.
Or we'll have to
Roll
make
a
up
d8.
and pretend. Yeah. All right. I got a 6.
6. Okay, so now you haven't. We're not doing this by the rules. We're just going to take a look at this, and you go, oh, okay. I can take my 6 is cantrip. It's a bad one because you already have that. Or Melson Slaps 2 to Womer, or instant replay. Ooh, what do I take? And now you get to be spell goblin and spend a lot of time reading those things. And absolutely not. You got to pick what level,
Right.
then make the luck check. And if you make the luck check, you can pick, and if not, you can then do it.
All right, so page 59 says they have to choose their new spell. So I was thinking they had to choose the spell specifically, not just the level of the spell.
Does it say choose their new spell? Oh crap.
Let's see.
They
59.
It's under magic. Let's see where.
half
This is
elves
great.
may
There you go.
make a luck check
Magic.
whenever they gain a level. If they are successful, they may choose their
choose.
new spell.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, spells
Yeah.
are determined
Yeah.
randomly. When gaining a
Gaining
new
a new
spell,
level.
a half elf may learn a spell from any spell level they are eligible for, choosing the level before they attempt the
Right.
luck roll.
I think that's
So
pretty
there
fair.
it is. Choosing the level. All right, so that it does change it. So what if they aren't eligible for a level 2 spell yet, but they want to choose a level 2 spell and cast it at like a lower dice? So in DCC, there's
They're
a little
not
mechanic
eligible.
where you can take a penalty. Is that the case? If they're not eligible for level 2, they can't pick a higher level spell?
No, absolutely not. That's
All
why
right.
there's a whole chart in there saying why. I mean, here's the thing. If I might hear an argument for that at the table for an individual, let's say that they got a hold of a second level spell on a scroll, okay, but they're only a second level half elf. And they're like, yeah, but I really want to cast Pixelation Evocation. I got it right here. Can I do it? I would hear an argument for, all right, well, if you study in it, but until you get to that level, you're casting that thing at a -1 die, and I would penalize them on their mercurial effect too. I'd give them a negative on checking the mercurial effect out, and that would last. And I don't know what it would be, but it'd be gross. Like I think a roll the mercurial effect on a die 50 or something heinous like that.
Ooh.
You know? Yeah.
So this is just the extra
Good
bonus.
reason to have a die 50.
Right.
It definitely
I
would
want
be. So this is just a bonus. If you make this luck check, then you get to pick exactly which spell you want, but only in the level category that you wanted.
Yes.
They still get a spell whether they level up or not. If they don't make the luck
yeah.
check,
Then they
Sure.
get a random spell. And if they're not happy with that spell, why, my child, go upon a quest.
all right. And if
What
it's
if
a spell
they
they
didn't
already
choose the spell level before and they roll? Are you going to tell them random across the board? Yeah, or, what if, say, they're eligible for level 1 and 2? Just like, well,
I'm gonna
choose
tell
a
them.
spell and re-roll.
It's a first level one, but I'm not going to use this finger. I'm playing. No, but yeah, they'd have to. Yeah, if they try to like sneak one by me, be like, "Oh, I forgot to say what level it was." I'd be like, "Default is level 1, my friend." So
Okay.
have, there you go.
yeah,
I like to hear these. I like it to hear when you get harsh a little bit and you make the rules every once in a while.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I'm trying to say.
All right, we got to keep going. We got to keep going.
Go.
All right, so next question: the charisma die. Tell us about the charisma die.
So half elves are they learn to be adept at social situations because they are such a being between worlds on all of their stuff. So this is represented by their charisma die. So they get to roll at first level. I think it's a die 3, and it goes up as they gain character levels, and they can add that to checks to persuade, deceive, negotiate, haggle, all those kinds of things.
All right, can they add it to spells that use their personality modifier?
No.
I mean, there's a little distinction there. Is a spell an ability or a skill? It's very, that's minute
There's a
right there.
no. There is a spell check, and then there is a skill check, and never the twain shall meet.
Okay.
It is skill checks. They're not adding that to your spell check.
And I saw this question online. I believe we answered it ages ago on some episodes.
Let's do it.
But at level 0, half-elves get a +1 on personality-based skill checks. That doesn't stack. That becomes the charisma die, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, and shout out to Ross Jackson who submitted that question about
What's up, Ross?
the Spellweaver Blast. All right, so charisma die, it's any interaction. Can they use it in consort with other classes' abilities? Like we talked about the criminal having like criminal connections, right? Can I use that in consort with that to try to give the bonus to them? You know, like the A team, you always had Face go talk to the people.
What would that look like? Hey, my friend here, the half elf says I need to talk to Lefty on Mulberry Street or whatever. Come on, man. I mean, how would that?
I mean, X-Crawl's all about working as a team.
Look, if that came up in game, if that came up in the game, this is how I would do that. Okay, I would say, because I mean that doesn't even make sense. How would the half elf's charisma help him find criminal contacts? Like I don't see how that would. That's nonsense.
The criminal has criminal contacts, and I want to smuggle something into the crawl, right? Like I've set this up. I've we talked about it with the criminal. I want to make a check to see if there's a gun hidden in one of these things by the referee, by the props guy who set up the stage that the dragon's going to be on. He taped a gun underneath.
Oh,
I mean, I'm expanding the world here.
Yeah, you are. All right, back that up, okay? So what the criminal is trying. Okay, if that's what his criminal is trying to do, he goes to the town where the event's going to be, and he goes ahead and makes his criminal contact roll. And if he's successful, he's like, "Hey, listen, do you have anybody who's on the dungeon crawler union? Because if you do, can you please hide a gun inside of this thing for me?" That's how that would work. It wouldn't be like, oh, in the middle of a crawl, hey, can I roll to see if a random criminal that I met one time in a bar maybe randomly hit a gun here? I mean, no, it's not like that. It's not like
I'll also say, Matt,
reality.
like, even if you find a gun in a crawl, you're going to get in trouble for picking it up. You need to stop being focused on getting a gun for yourself and start focusing on planting a gun to frame someone else.
We've got the other classes that can hide the gun, and so then the face can negotiate and be like, I didn't,
and you frame the dragon so you don't have to fight him. And you're like, that dragon has a gun. That's not.
Yeah.
You know what the way to do it would be? This is how I would play it. I would get the gun to be on the monster side. Then when the guy, he goes for his bow, he's like, what the hell is this? And you're like, he's got a gun. They're cheating. 10 yards. Illegal firearm. Players, and just like.
Hey, Bob Gnarly, Tony. I just saw Tony at T-Fest.
Hey, Tony.
Again,
what's
Tony.
Up? How are y'all seeing
All right.
people?
Elena, I just I said check your messages. I gave you the link.
Okay. Keep going.
All right, let's talk about acrobatics. Half elves, Stefan. Half elves get the acrobatic skill as the acrobatic on page 41. Direct reference to it. Direct reference to that page. Do they get bonus circumstances that come with that acrobatics check? You remember, Brendan, how I tried to get 4 moves out of 1 action? The free withdrawal, the not taking an attack, the leaping off a cliff if I moved backwards. I tried to wrap them all into 4. Do the half elves get all those bonuses that you get with acrobatics checks?
Okay, they don't. Whatever that was, they no one can do whatever that was just now. That's but they would get the same modifiers if they have the balance pull. They would get the bonus on to whatever they were doing. If they whatever the modifier is for the their skill works just like the skills that the acrobats have. And I didn't want to have to rewrite the entire paragraph and put half elves in there to you know what I mean, pass some kind of a whatever test.
All right, so I'm gonna fire at you. I'm gonna fire at you real quick. They can pole vault like the acrobatic, right?
Yes.
They can tightrope walk like the acrobatic.
Yes.
They can leap like the acrobatic, get a leap bonus.
Yes.
All right. And falling, they get the free action to mitigate fall damage.
Okay. Falling would still be their movement, but so it would not be a free action per se.
But it's
But
part of the
yeah, they could still do
acrobatics
it.
check. Actually,
They would get an acrobatics check to mitigate some of the damage, but the fall would still be their movement. It still takes time to fall, however long.
so without having you read the acrobatic pole vault, the other things I mentioned are all specific tasks. Pole vault, tightrope walking, and leaping are all different abilities, probably not included in an acrobatics check. So we might want to retcon that. The acrobatics check we're talking about, it specifically says they can back away from an opponent without a withdrawal attack. They move half of their movement. They mitigate fall damage and somersaults and do all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, why wouldn't they be able to do that?
I was just checking.
Yeah,
Now,
they
Matt,
absolutely.
I think the real thing is the next question that you were on, which is all about backstabs and crits and stuff. I'm looking forward to how Brendan tells you that you were wrong.
All right. Question.
You said so they get backstabs like specialists at a -2 die penalty when they're doing their backstab crit. Now, the question was officially about, does that -2 die penalty apply to regular critical attacks that aren't backstabs? But more than that, Matt, you suggested that they could choose which type of specialist they would crit like. And I said, no, it is the default specialist, just the backstab section there, not I want to backstab crit like the Crypt Raider or the Dwarf Mechanic.
That's
That's
true.
my
Let's
boy.
find out. Let's find out. Brendan, page 59 says a half elf can backstab like a specialist. It does not clarify which specialist. Can I choose which specialist? Because
Right.
there is no specialist class.
Okay, first off, there absolutely is a specialist class. I wrote it, and it's got specialties. Okay, and yeah, absolutely, it would be just the default thing as written up in the thing. If I was going to give them the absolutely insane ability to also choose some class that they could also I'm a commando. I get bonuses with whatever.
Yes.
I Crom, Mitra, and Ralph. I would have put that in writing and underlined that. I might even have referenced you. I might even have been like, and also, Grape Ape, they can choose what specialist they want to do that with. But no. So in order to since Stefan was interested in how I was going to tell you no, I'm gonna have to pull out a special one and go for a video game version. Ready? DJ Bad Wrong Fun wins. Fatality. All right, man. I don't know what to tell you. I mean,
to clarify, we can't pick any backstab. And so, see, that's a good thing to know because there is a specialist class that aren't the acrobatic, the dwarf. You can just be a regular specialist and be kind of good at everything.
No, you would just be a specialist. You have to choose a specialty. That's in the thing. But it's not.
So if you have to choose a specialty, that means there is no specialist
there
to be specifically.
Yes, they're all specialists. All right,
so you're either a specialist acrobat, you're a specialist commando, you're a specialist criminal. You're never just a specialist.
Listen, the backstab bonus is in the class feature for the half elf, like what the actual plus whatever is. But you are working off of the written description for backstab that is in the main part of the specialist class prior to any of the specific specialties.
Correct. But that written part does not have modifiers. For example, the commando gets +3, +5, +7. The acrobat gets +0, +1, +2.
The half elf has modifiers. The half elf has modifiers in the half elf adventuring skill by level section.
Let me check here. For the backstab?
In the half elf.
Oh, all right. There it is.
Oh crap. Hey, if we get shut down, it's because suddenly we got heavy weather happening here. So apologies.
All right, we will continue on. All right, all right. Well, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Enough of my
I know, Sean.
shenanigans.
I know.
All right, penalty from the iron vulnerability for half elves. Too harsh or too merciful?
It's honestly, if okay, this goes back to what we were talking about. I know, baby, I'm right here. It goes back to what we were talking about earlier. If half elves were not as rare as they are, I would say it's probably too merciful. But it's like let's say that there was an equal chance to roll up a half elf in the beginning as you would roll anything else up. I would have probably made that harsher. I mean, really, realistic. I know, baby, I know. Realistically, the half elf he should also okay, like we're just talking about how this works physiologically, okay? He should take extra damage from cold iron weapons. You know what I'm saying? But what a pain in the neck. We would want to, you know what I mean? It'd be such a hard. I know, baby, I know. It'd be so hard to keep up with. So the
What
what
is
do you
that?
call it?
-1 to hit and -1 to AC
Yeah,
if you're using or
that's
wearing stuff.
yeah, which is probably too mild, frankly. I mean, but also they are also half human, so it's not as bad as it was.
All right,
It's not as bad as it is for
uh,
elves, where they take continuous damage. But
Stefan, what's the last question for the half elves?
That was it, my man. We're on to the orcs, the half
What
orcs.
about the fame? What about the fame one?
The Mojo
Let me
one.
get
Oh,
the
I didn't. I
Mojo
mean, did
question.
I forget it? I thought that wasn't an official question.
Well,
No,
you
no.
know,
Oh,
they
there is.
they put a
Okay, all
point.
right, all right. I'm wrong. All right, yeah, they get a point of Mojo for every point of fame they. All right, so sorry. I don't know what the question is.
I mean,
None.
that's pretty hard. Like other classes, the gnome's getting 1d3, 1d4 mojo. The half elf is struggling for mojo. We only get it when we get a point of fame for
yeah, but see,
grandstanding.
I don't
Charisma
know.
die
There,
goes into the grandstanding, so it feeds into itself.
yeah. See what I'm saying? It
That's a good
bumps up.
point. That's
Plus,
a good point.
that's 2 times per room that they can pull that off, and they can try as many times they want on the first one. I mean, I think it's look. Some classes just earn more mojo points than others. You know what I'm saying? But I am okay with that. Basically, it means that they can help the rest of the team out more than others, and it's built into
Mhm.
some classes more than into others. You know what I'm saying? Like really, you know who the money maker as far as mojo goes in this is the jammer. The jammer puts the disrespect on a guy, and then every time they fail at something, and they fail a lot because they got the bonus, and they get a point of mojo. So jammers wind up racking it up. I'm completely okay with that because then they turn around and they help their team with that. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like the half elf gets it really. I mean, they have the same chance as everybody else for other stuff for mojo points. Natural 20, finishing encounter, all this. Plus, they get one for every point of fame they earn. There are crits that give you fame. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Like you gotta take that
All right.
for real. You know?
Let's
All right.
let's move over to the half orc. We only got 15 minutes. Are half orcs one of your
I'm in this.
favorite classes, Brendan? I feel like they are. Do
I
you love
mean,
the half orc?
I hope that the half orc is there for a certain kind of player. There's a certain kind of player who is like, to heck with it. I'm gonna run out there and get killed, maybe. You know what I mean? That kind of player. I call him Scud, like from Scud, the Disposable Assassin comics from back in the 90s. Like the idea being that like if some guy who's out there, my friend Andy's like this. He's just gonna run out there on the front line, and they're, and if I die, well, I brought dice. I'll make up a new character. So I feel like they're the kind of character class if you want to play that kind of super reckless, just like you're so mad that you don't care if you die as long as you kill the guy. That kind of character class. I mean, I love them all equally. If I had to pick one, I'm probably honestly I love playing blasters, but I think the half elf is really like my favorite because they get to do. That's how I call it adventurer style. They get to play a little of everything, So.
All right.
Well,
We talked about the deed a little bit. They get a regular deed, very similar to a warrior if they're playing Dungeon Crawl Classics, if you're familiar with that. But they also get a wild attack. Tell us about the wild attack?
Okay, so the wild attack gives the half orc a potential second attack for one extra attack every round. In order to do so, they have to give their opponent. They have to. Couple things have to happen. A, they have to give their opponent a free attack. Basically, put their face out there like, "Come on." And then the opponent has to fall for it. There's no dive check for this, and I feel like you have to play that carefully as a GM. Where unintelligent creatures will fall for it, like cougars will fall for it every time. You know what I mean? Guy with a sword and shield and net, he maybe not. But then if they do, then they get that free attack on the half orc, and if that attack, whatever happens, if they hit, if they miss, if they crit, if they kill the half orc then gets to make a attack at their opponent.
All right, and it only can happen once per round, even if they have
Once
like
per round.
4 action dice with like a
Even if
haste
they have
spell.
4 action dice. Yep.
And do they get a roll? I mean, they might not get a mighty deed, but they're rolling their deed die anew with the wild attack, or is it just a regular attack?
It should be.
It says it's an additional attack using their deed dice.
It would use the same one. It would be like a dwarf shield bash, where it uses the same dice because it's tied to that action die. You know what I'm saying?
Don't say that.
Okay, so-
We give no. We give different deed dice for the dwarf shield bash. Well, I mean, we talked about it.
So if they just rolled a 3 on their die, should they add a +3? They shouldn't roll it again.
Yeah, I would say they would use the same number, but I also I don't know.
That's something you got to determine before the game starts and be like, hey, you can roll your deed die each attack.
Yeah. I mean, whatever it is, they still get it. You know what I mean? It's just, are they going to use the same one as they rolled in their first one? Technically, it should be like rules is written going back to the DCC core book. It should be the same action since it's tied to the same action die. It should be the same number. But I kind of don't like. I don't. I feel like leave that up to the GM. Me, I would probably say I just have them roll a new one every time. You know what I'm saying? But I also, you can't put a deed on that, so it doesn't matter that much. It's just hitting damage. I mean, it matters, but it doesn't matter that much. But it's interesting though to think about. Like, it might keep you from doing a wild attack. If you get a 1, and you're like, well, I'm not taking a wild attack on a 1. You know what I'm saying? So I don't mind that being a thing that mitigates abilities.
Okay. So they get the increased threat range, but only on that wild attack, not for the regular attack.
Not for the regular attack. Nah.
All right. So we had some examples. Stefan, if you want to go through the examples of the monsters, if you got the flyers up, hit Brendan with each of those and tell him. So we had monsters that inflicted circumstantial damage if they were successful. So when you say that they get a free attack, do those circumstances come with the attack that they would normally get? Hit him, Stefan.
All right, so the Killiputty. It wraps a pseudopod around a humanoid's face and starts to squeeze.
No, automatic damage. No.
Okay.
So they would not get the wild attack?
No, automatic damage.
All right.
Okay. Another one, Dungeon Wretch. Hit by the claws, they got to make a save or, take some stamina damage and reduces, some other things.
I mean, if the claw attack hits, then the guy can try to go for a wild attack.
All right. What about
if their stamina doesn't get reduced to a point where they can't move? I think was kind of the point.
I see. You know what? Honestly, I would say it happens after the attack. I would.
Right.
If death won't stop them, then losing a couple points of stamina shouldn't stop them.
All right.
Okay.
And death is written into the rules. So.
Gator bite, where they're attempting to pull the victim into the water. Are they like getting that wild attack and then get into the water if they, fail saves and whatnot?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So gator bite with an automatic grab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They get the attack before they get pulled into the water.
All right, so let's go back to Killiputty. Circumstantially, it wraps around the face. They're blinded. They can't see. The wild attack, they were going to do the wild attack anyway. So it goes through regardless of what kind of circumstantial damage happens to the half-orc. Is it right?
Wait, what?
Would they still get it? Are they getting
blinded, if they're dragged under the water, if they're grappled. I mean, if I go up and one of my bad guys is attacking the half-orc and he grapples him, right? His attack is a grapple attack, like a crush. And the half-orc's arms are bound, and he did that as a wild attack. Can he still wild attack?
Oh, that's an interesting one. He's grappled like he can't move now.
Right. And
Ah,
so different monsters have that effect. They have
yeah.
paralyzation. They have, blind wrap around your head, can't breathe,
Okay, I see.
suffocation.
You know what I would rule, and I would get granular on that. I would be like, yes, but it's going to be a kick or a headbutt, so you're going to be doing reduced damage. You're not going to get your weapon damage in there. I'll give you a knee to the vulnerables.
Okay.
All right.
So just work it out circumstantially.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Everything in all of the DCC rules in games are like that, and as it should be.
we did have a question about, how's their stat recovery working? I think that's pretty plain. They just get a little bonus that for the sake of
It's a one.
time. I think and yes, that's a great ability. Matt was saying something about that -1 penalty for being distrusted or mistrusted, rather, seems to often cancel out with the +1 die for intimidation. And I'm going, well,
No,
yeah, but
that's
you're
not.
not always trying to intimidate.
Yeah, they wouldn't get that. They wouldn't get that penalty. If here's Mr. Half-Orc. If Mr. Half-Orc goes into the crowd and tries to get or goes up to his landlord and asks if he can be late 2 months in the rent and needs to make a roll on that, he would be -1 die. If he goes and roars that, and he would roll a d16. If instead he kicks the door open and he goes, "Damn it, you're gonna wait 2 weeks for that money and like it," and does it through intimidation, he would be rolling a d24 for that, not a d20. That could be clearer in the rules. Yeah, but he
The
wouldn't. He wouldn't
-1
be.
doesn't apply if they have the bonus.
Yeah, yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
Oh, so
So
they're not meant to really cancel each out ever. Just go for one or
No,
the
they would
other.
just from 20. You know what? I want to say I feel like no, mistrusted. All right. Okay, so minus social situations out in the real world. Half-orcs take a -1 die penalty when attacks mounted by personality. Exceptions including grandstanding, dealing with other half-orcs, dealing with personal agents.
and yeah,
Yeah,
Hagar, even if the orc dies, they get that wild attack if they declared it.
yes. There's you can always rule in it. I mean, if they're disintegrated, you know what I mean? If the attack
Yeah.
sucks them up into a vortex up into the sky or some nonsense, you know what I mean? I mean, there's
So, Brendan, we got to touch on this because this is unprecedented territory here that you've touched upon. First of all, through DCC
my
for
life.
years, being able to use your D die only for attacks, right? D die was in DCC, it's only for attacks. You can't use it on skill checks or anything else. Here with the half orc, we've got them using their D die result on intimidation on a skill check. On page 62, when they use their mighty deed of arms to frighten, so when they use that action, they get an additional +1. And so that is not necessarily an attack. That could be a kick it in the door and be like, you're going to wait a week.
It's still it still has to be an attack because the deed die doesn't work if the opponent doesn't get hit.
Okay.
There's no that's very clear, you know what I'm saying? So he can't just roll, he can't yell at a guy in the stands, "Hey, if you don't sit down and shut the hell up, I'm gonna come over here and smack you around." He's not gonna get D die on that.
So when they get the +1 D, it's with an attack, but the deed is like frighten, bully, or intimidate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it still has to be an attack roll. Yeah, the only because how would you determine that if there's no chance of striking?
I don't know. So if we include in the reading a half orc's deed attempt to frighten, bully, or intimidate are at +1, then that might solve the confusion. Because I was like,
yeah, still it has to hit. It literally says it has to hit and hit the opponent. If no one's getting hit, there's no deed. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, that's not the point of contention. The point of contention is I thought it was like a skill check, frighten, bully, or intimidate, personality check.
No, it's part of your thing. So, okay, so my half-orc is going to run inside the room. I'm going to hit the first guy, and then I'm going to say, if all y'all surrender right now, I'm killing everybody with this here sword. That's a very terrible thing, but you know what I'm saying. Then he gets to roll that. I get a 4 of my deed die, okay? I hit. It works. And since I'm doing it in this context, and I'm using that, I get a +1. It does not add to hit or damage, but adds the effect. So now it's not a deed that works on a 3, a deed that works on a 4. It's a deed that hits on a 5, which is even higher than I should be able to reach, and they all pee themselves and scatter the winds, you know?
All right. Yeah, that makes sense. So you can't use the mighty deed of arms other than for attack. That was
No,
the
no, it
follow
has to
point.
be, yeah,
All
it
right.
has to be a hit thing, yeah.
How does an orc become a citizen of the empire? What do we have to go through to get
Uh,
these orcs to become citizens?
they have to become 4th level, and then there has to be some exploratory meetings and some stuff, and there has to be, you know, discussions, but ultimately they have to pay a certain amount of money in bribes in order to get the okay to do it, and then they can become an actual citizen, and at that point they lose their untrusted bonus, because at that point you've been here, everyone is so familiar with you, you're one of us, you're part of the gang.
There you go. I think that's a perfect note to end on, don't you, Stefan?
I think so.
All
I
right.
can't believe
Well,
we got through all that. It started 2 minutes late. That's amazing.
I, no, I'm telling you, me and Stefan got this down to a science. We time it
Yeah,
all
y'all do.
out.
Yeah, y'all do.
20 minutes per section, a little bit extra here, a little less there. So, Brendan, thanks for coming on and being a guest. What you got to
Absolute
tell us
pleasure.
one secret when you're on. You share just between me, you, and Stefan.
We did
You
that
tell
at the
us
beginning.
one little secret thing that's coming up.
Secret thing that's coming up. Let's see,
Just
what do I
between me,
have?
you, and Stefan.
All right, um. Oh gosh, I am.
You can say it.
I'm working on something. I can't.
Hey,
I'm
a
working on
little bit.
something. Nope. I can say
Yeah,
that.
A little bit.
Um.
Give
I'll
us a
say
hint.
No,
something,
I
Matt.
can't.
I'll say
I can't
something,
give a
Matt.
Give us a
hint.
hint.
I can't.
Listen, that's
I
okay.
can't. I got nothing.
I'll say something,
It's
Matt.
a.
All right. What do you got, Stefan?
Yeah. I'm gonna say this is my secret, and it shouldn't be. Life sometimes has a lot of disappointments. It throws curveball at you. Sometimes you don't hit them. Sometimes you get hit by them. My secret is I am very grateful for each of your friendships, Matt, Brennan, Elena. That's my
Man,
secret, and it shouldn't be
cheers,
secret.
man. I
I'm
appreciate
grateful for
that.
friendships.
Yeah. I will say this:
Yeah.
there is an adventure that I will say. Okay, what my secret is, I have an
All right.
adventure for Xcrawl in the pocket that I meant to publish like years ago, like 2 years ago, and it was going to be one of the stretch goals, and then we brought in more people. It wasn't there, and I've just been sitting on this one. But it has, and I mean this, the grossest monster, in my opinion, that I've ever come up with is still out there. So my secret is I have an adventure. It's literally ready to go to editing. Not been laid out. It doesn't have art, but it's ready to go to editing, and it has the most disgusting monster. Like I had to get over some of my own personal issues to actually
Like
write this thing up. That's how heinous it is.
Chet from Weird Science, gross or like grosser than that?
Oh my gosh, he doesn't even. You know what I'm saying? You would let Chet sit in your car, right? Yeah. he's he's a little messed up looking, but he's not like. This is something you wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? This is like, well, we're gonna have to nuke it from orbit. There's no other way to be
You,
sure. So
you dug up some like old Greek mythology, and you're like, huh? They had a goddess of sphincters. Wow, that's so
it was it
interesting.
was
All
it
right.
was so much closer to home, and they did
What
have a
level?
goddess of
What
sphincters.
level is it?
She was.
Can you tell us what level?
It is second or third. Is it second or
Okay.
third? It's second. It's second. I just ran it for
Right.
I ran it for my home group, and I'll say one of the magic items in there is a magical chainsaw. So well, that's fun too.
All right.
Yeah.
That's almost
Yeah,
a gun. I love it.
my niece has that one. So it's not exactly. You'll see. It's a magic weapon with chainsaw properties. Let's put it that way. So
Okay.
All right. Well, I think that's it for us. We're our next show will be in 2 weeks' time, August 26th. And Elena, thank you very much for bearing with us, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
thanks, Elena. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for watching. And like I said, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell button, and we will keep sending you more cool content. Thank you, guys, because y'all and for finding all the stuff that I can get to tune up in the paperback edition, which is coming up. We don't know when, sometime.